Welcome to the YourTown television program. I'm your host, Gerald Vinci, author and owner of Vinci Digital Marketing. Today I'm sitting down with Daniel Philpott, co-owner and COO of INOSOT Financial and Health Coaching Centers. So Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gerald.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of background information about you and what INOSOT does.
Okay. We founded the company about 4 years ago, and it was really in response to businesses needing to develop strategies in dealing with new regulation and how to treat their employees better, and all the tax consequence, all the financial implications that would have. And so we looked at it and we said, you know, everybody can benefit from that. So why don't we just develop a program and a system that can help people navigate changing regulations, changing laws,
Sure.
and get the financial result they want.
Okay. How did you get started in the industry? Kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a very loaded question. I bought my first business when I was 14. It was planting real estate signs for real estate offices, and over the next few years I grew it, and it was a great little source of income, and I wound up selling it for about 5 times what I bought it for, just in under 3 years. So it was, I kind of liked business.
Okay. What was the one thing that kind of held you back when you started your business? This business, I guess we should say.
Probably like everybody else, you wonder, you know, is the public going to accept a new way of doing things or a different way of looking at things? You know, what's going to be the reception? Are they going to like me? Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably what holds most businesses back.
Yeah, fear of rejection or
right,
everything
exactly.
else that could possibly happen. Yeah. So what? Tell me a little bit more about INOSOT and what you guys actually do for people.
Well, INOSOT is an acronym for Infinite Number of Solutions Over Time. And kind of the reasoning behind that is finances are not static and linear. Mm-hmm. Life happens, things change. And there's no one solution that's perfect for everybody in every situation. And that can change even on an individual basis. We like to think of it as we develop a strategy that's infinitely flexible, and it's based on the infinity of what you want it to do.
Sure.
And so what we do is we help people decide on their goals, where they want to go, what it is they're trying to get their financial life to do. We deal with the things that may be standing in your way, whether it's mental, blocks from childhood, whatever. And then the third part is if you want to win the game, and this was my dad's favorite saying, if you want to win the game, you got to know the rules. By knowing the rules, then we know how to structure things, how to apply things, and how to make it all work together so you get what you actually want out of it.
Okay, that's a really cool concept. So tell me more about the rules. I mean, what are some of the rules that you need to know to win the game these days? Without getting into strategy or anything.
Well, let's pick one area. I mean, the basis of everything in this country revolves around taxes. Mm-hmm. And people spend a lot of time and energy complaining about how the taxes are unfair. Well, the tax code actually tells us that this country was founded on the corporate concept, much more so in finances than the individual concept. And so we look for opportunities to help people take advantage of that structure, mm-hmm. So that we actually play the game the way the rules are written. That would be one example. Every segment of financial life has its own little rules. We hear a lot about it right now with healthcare and how those rules are changing, what's going to be applied, what's not. And so having a team of people that do a lot of research, do a lot of reading, and understand these rules and can apply them to your, whether it's your business or your individual life, and make it work.
Right.
And now we're seeing with the Affordable Care Act, taxes and healthcare became so strongly intertwined. It's really important to know those rules. And that applies in every segment of life, whether you're making investments, whether you're buying a house, whatever it is you're doing, starting a business, wrapping up a business, there's sets of rules. And those rules give you the advantage or the disadvantage depending on whether you choose to play them or not.
Sure. Yeah, it kind of reminds me, the whole tax system reminds me almost like a casino, where they say like the house always wins. It's like that doesn't necessarily have to be the case if you understand the way the system works,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest financial challenges for businesses today?
I think probably the biggest challenge is that people get in their own way. We've been kind of taught one way of doing things. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And they don't look at the alternative ways of maybe getting their business done. And probably closely tied to that is business owners tend to say, if they like to make widgets, that's what they want to do. They don't think about skilling up in an area to actually let people know what they go out and what the widget's for.
Right.
And so it's kind of, unfortunately, a lot of what we think we know about business and finances, we learn before we're 7 years old. And sometimes we need to get out of that circle of thought and look at things a different way. Sometimes it makes us uncomfortable, but that's how you grow. And so business owners that are willing to skill up in areas, maybe it's going out and learning how to public speak. Maybe it's showing up on a TV show. Start a Facebook page.
Right.
Something that you wouldn't normally think to do, but that could make all the difference in the business. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to do it. But there's some things. I think one of the biggest hindrances to business is that you've got to have money to make money. And I can give you dozens of examples of businesses that were started on a shoestring and people are really successful at it. But they were willing to take and do what they needed to do to get it done.
Do you think diversification is a challenge for most businesses today? Like I noticed that there's a lot of businesses that seem to be like a one-show pony, Does that seem to be a challenge for a lot of businesses that you come across?
I'm kind of mixed on that.
Yeah.
Diversity is good in some respects. Having multiple ways of making a profit off of what you do, I think, is important. But if you do something really, really well, I see nothing wrong with perfecting that and honing that so that you reach the target that you want.
Right.
And that you're dealing with the people that you want to deal with. You don't have to be everything to everybody.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin too.
Right. So
marginalizes everything you do in that case.
Focusing is not a bad thing.
Okay. What about individuals? What do you see as the biggest financial challenges that they're dealing with these days?
The confusion around the rules. People come into the office all the time and they're confused about, they heard on somewhere that this change is going to take place or that change is going to take place, and they've already formed a strong opinion about it, and it may or may not be true. If I can give a specific example, the big one that was going around was that the IRS was no longer charging the penalty on health care this year. Well, that isn't what it said. It said, we'll let your tax return go through without you stating that. We'll collect the penalty later. They just wanted to get you into the system. Right? So, that caused a lot of confusion with people. Oh, good, I don't have to have health care. I'm not going to get penalized. Well, that wasn't the reality.
Right. Okay. When I introduced you, I said financial and health coaching center. So how do you tie health and financial together? Health,
Buddha probably said it best. He said, we spend our youth to achieve our wealth, and then we spend our wealth to achieve our health. And health becomes a very important financial consideration. Statistically, from the time a person turns 65 until the end of their life, they're going to spend approximately $250,000 out of their pocket just in health care.
Wow.
And that's above and beyond insurance and all that type of thing. If you've not made an allocation for that in your planning, And a few years ago, it's changed now, but a few years ago, people worked on the assumption that they needed $1 million to retire comfortably. You've just lost a quarter of it due to health care.
Right.
So if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't do the things that we need to do while we're young and able, it's going to impact our wealth dramatically down the road. Also, you feel better. You can do your business better. You can make more money while you're still making money if you feel better. And health has a huge impact on our mental capacity as well as our physical and our financial. And so integrating that in, making people aware of it and offering them options of how they can do different things becomes a wealth strategy.
Right. Oh, I like that. It's a good mindset. So has the definition of financial independence changed today from what it used to be, or would you say it's pretty much the same?
Well, to me, financial independence is whatever you want it to be. The problem with probably the old model of financial independence was it was somebody's marketing idea, is if you achieve this, you're now financially independent. We want you to, buy that. I think people need to be much more in control of themselves. Not everybody wants the same thing. Not everybody needs or wants to be a millionaire. Some people just need enough money to have food to eat every month. And if that's what you want, you should have that. If you want the $1 million or the $2 million and the yacht or whatever, you should have that as well. It just takes planning.
Right. So is INOSOT active in the local community?
My co-founder and I, Michael LaRocco, we're very active. We're ambassadors with the Salinas Valley Chamber of Commerce. We're also active with Professional Women's Network and Salinas Valley Business Women's Network. We try to find ways to give back whenever we can. And so we support a number of local causes. You'll see us there. And we want to make where we live a great place and the place that we like to do business.
Okay. Yeah, that's the beauty of Monterey and this area in general. It seems everybody's on board with contributing, collaborating, and just making this a wonderful place.
And I think we'll see more of that in business because, if we don't help each other, who's going to do it?
Especially small business too,
Yes, and there's lots of quote unquote aid out there for them, but it's not customizable. It's generally done for a specific segment that may not fit what people have. I know we tried in the beginning to go with a couple of these organizations, and they just didn't know what to do with us. So you get a unique business or something that's out of the norm, who's going to help them? Right.
Yeah, the power of connection seems to be greater than any financial aid or anything that you could get, just by networking, referrals, everything like that. It seems so many businesses thrive that have that healthy relationship in the community.
And if you're pleasant to be around, people like to be around you. Strange how that works.
Yeah.
And so we've built our whole business just off of networking.
Yeah, I would probably say the same. Probably 90% of the business we have and continue to get seems to be referrals. So,
exactly.
Yeah. What would be some things that are working for you right now?
As far as?
Just progress you've made with the business in the last 4 years.
Well, the thing that we've been able to do is it's given us opportunity to now go out and publicly speak on stages around, mostly around California, and to meet with some wonderful people in doing that. People like Sharon Lecter and Dr. Isura Gonzalez come to mind as people who are interested in helping the business community. And they have great information, but they don't always know how to apply it. And we're really good at application. It's like we can take all that information, distill it down, create a strategy, and make you understand that strategy so you can do it. And so it's given us the opportunity to be in front of hundreds of people all over the place and help a lot of businesses, not just in California, but all over the country.
Sure.
And partner with some really great people working on some projects in the future. So I think it's as we grow and as we do more and more business, we're finding people are really open to having that mentor-coach relationship and not just somebody that puts numbers in little squares and says, here you go, do this.
Sure. Do you see the speaking engagements as a regular thing to help grow the business now?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think public speaking is probably one of the greatest ways to meet masses of people and get your message out. And I mean, I really would like to see a movement happen out of this. I think we need to change the way the financial industry works. Too often it's product-centric, which is, we have a product, we want you to fit in it. And I really believe that people should be able to say, this is what I want to do. What are the tools, the products, that are going to help me get there? And know how to distinguish what tools work for them and what tools don't.
Sure. That makes sense. What do you think is the best business advice you ever received?
The best business advice I ever received. Be big, be bold. If people don't know about you, they're probably not going to do business with you. If people can see you and hear you and they agree with you and they like you, they're there. And so be big, be bold.
I like it. All right, we're just about out of time. If you could just give us one important tip you can suggest for small business owners today.
Never give up.
I like it. I like it.
I think Winston Churchill said that. Never ever give up.
Sure.
If you really believe that what you have is important for people, don't let anything stop you. It's kind of through that testing that you become great. And if you're not having some challenges, it's probably not the right product,
Right.
Or the right service. If there's resistance, you're doing something that is going to get people where they want to go.
Okay. All right, so if you could just tell us how we can learn more about you and INOSOT.
The easiest way is to simply call us at the office. I can give you that phone number.
Sure.
It's 831-449-6800. And my personal extension is 102. You can feel free to call me or anybody else in the office.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, Daniel, for your time.
Thank you, Gerald.
That's great. You've been watching the YourTown television program. I'm your host, Gerald Vinci. You can tune in AMP Channel 27 or visit us on the web at yourtown.tv. Thanks for watching.